Breaking news: Nnamdi Kanu's legal team challenges prosecution as court plays selective broadcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful people. Once again, you're welcome to this wonderful YouTube platform. Do not forget to share this video to as many groups and platforms as possible as we continue to give you updates, on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's court hearing happening in the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom, Nigeria, the High Court, Federal High Court in Abuja. These are the clips coming in directly from the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's court trial. Let us go into the news in detail. The trial of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, resumed today, 7th May 2025. At the Federal High Court in Abuja, with renewed scrutiny over the federal government's handling of the case, as well as the legality of evidence presented by the prosecution. From the moment Kanu arrived in court, surrounded by his formidable legal team led by the respected legal luminary Chief Kanu Agabi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, it was clear that the defense was prepared to challenge every point raised by the prosecution. The team includes distinguished counsels such as Onyinyechi Benson, Aloy Ejimako, Emeka Etiaba, Maswell Opara, and many others. During today's session, the prosecution continued its attempt to link Kanu to a series of broadcasts, many of which were historical in nature, including addresses dating as far back as 2011 during the World Igbo Congress in the United States of America. The prosecution presented flash drives containing audio and video material said to be past broadcasts of the indigenous people of Biafran leader, in which he spoke passionately about the plight of the Igbo people and the indigenous communities in Nigeria. In one such broadcast, Kanu warned of Fulani herdsmen, invasions, and called for vigilance and self-defense, which he emphasized was a constitutional right. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the recordings maintained that Ipob is a peaceful movement and repeatedly called for a referendum, not war. Referendum is not a crime, he said, urging indigenous groups to awaken and protect their people from state-backed violence and terrorist attacks. As segments of the NSAS era recording were played, including calls from distressed individuals across southern Nigeria reporting attacks on protesters. Kanu's broadcasts were framed as reactions to systemic violence and neglect, not incitement. One caller from Aba during the broadcast was heard crying out, "They are tying us now," a chilling reminder of the real-time fear and violence many Nigerians faced during protests. Kanu's call for self-defense was positioned by his legal team as a justified reaction to impunity and extrajudicial crimes, not terrorism. The defense also raised critical concerns about the process used to proscribe Ipob as a terrorist group, noting it was done via an ex parte motion without Ipob's representation in court, a point unchallenged by the prosecution today. Let's continue with the news. At a point, the prosecution tried to reference a letter from a former attorney general, but again, the defense objected, insisting that the document had not been duly served, a concern the trial judge, Justice Omotosho, acknowledged. Despite the prosecution's continued push, the defense maintained that Ipob's activities, as outlined by Kanu, were legal and grounded in the fundamental rights to self-determination, speech, and peaceful assembly. The judge adjourned the case till May 8, 2025 for the continuation of the hearing and further cross-examination of the prosecution witnesses. We'll be dropping you, the updated videos of all the issue that happened in court, just as you're seeing. It was actually a very wonderful court hearing today. But like I said, in the other videos I drop on the other channels, one thing I'm gonna keep saying about this whole shenanigans happening in court, or this whole shamble, you know, of a court hearing that we are seeing today, is the fact that Nnamdi Kanu still remains an innocent man. Because first of all, like I said earlier, trying Nnamdi Kanu here is even illegal. So the judge or the court is already in the act of illegality by even trying Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the first place. Now, the whole evidences the zoo claimed they had against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they were bragging. Malami then was bragging on how they were going to bring him down. Now we've seen all the evidences. And the so-called evidence, in quote, that was actually meant to be insightful to the people, is a call for self-defense, is a call for self-determination, which is never a crime. Self-defense will never be a crime. Well, I'm not baffled actually, because we are in a country where, the terrorists are not being seen as terrorists. The real terrorists, the headers, who are committing crimes against humanity, buying innocent people on daily basis, are not seen as terrorists. But the people the victims who are being affected by this act of terrorism, who are only defending themselves and preventing their people from being pied on daily basis, are seen as the real terrorists. And that is why when we keep on saying that Igbos are being marginalized, we are not saying it because we are Igbos. We are not saying it because we are Biafrans. We are saying it because of that is the truth. And that is the major push why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is defending his people and will continue to defend his people. Please, if you're watching this channel, make sure you're subscribing to this channel for more important information, and also, so that you can get all the updated trial, news and videos, trending happenings, within Biafran land. So, in order to round up this whole thing, you can proudly say Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is actually victorious. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a normal person, like I've always clarified. He's not a man who was able to foresee the future even till today. Those things he made, those comments he made in those previous videos are what the judge, I know when the judge will be watching this video, will be like, what kind of man is this? Because he foresaw those things and they are happening now. That is the kind of person we are dealing with. That is the Nnamdi Kanu we are talking about. And when we say he is not a normal person, then we know that he is a true prophet. So let me drop the video of the court hearing, on how it happened, on how everything happened today in court, and so that you can analyze yourself, the video also, and help us to share to those who have been doubting the credibility and the legality of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's action. Please share this video to as many groups and platforms as possible as you enjoy the remaining of this wonderful broadcast that happened in court today.
Resumes at the trial of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, resumes at the Federal High Court, Abuja, with both parties ready for the day's proceeding.
How are you?
Mr. Kanu arrives and exchanges pleasantries with his loved ones and legal team.
Hold on. How are you?
At the resumed hearing, the trial continued with the cross-examination of the first prosecution witness, identified as AAA. The witness said he is not aware that the defendant was charged with 15 counts, but that he is aware that Kanu was charged with inciting others to attack members of the police force. Re-examined by lead prosecutor Adegboyega Awomolo, the witness stated that Kanu's activities amounted to agitation for the secession of parts of Nigeria. The second prosecution witness, identified as BBB, an officer with the DSS, testified that he was assigned by the Attorney General of the Federation to investigate Kanu. He described the defendant as the operator of Radio Biafra, which he said operated illegally, and the founder of the Eastern Security Network. Attempts by the prosecution to tender a letter authorizing the witness investigation was resisted by Mr. Gabi, who objected on the grounds that the document was not front-loaded. The prosecution later withdrew the document and the court granted the withdrawal.